welcome to AccentOnCars. Today is a rainy day and we have this beautiful Mazda CX-5 2021 Mazda CX-5 for review. Not just a regular Mazda, this is the carbon edition, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. We're gonna talk about its exterior, interior features. We're gonna take it out on the road for driving, and we're gonna talk about its engine reliability and things like that. Make sure you stay till the end. And if you are new to the channel, in this channel, this is what I do. I do car reviews, I give practical tips, I talk about reliability, cost of ownership for used cars. So make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. I appreciate it. It's raining like crazy, so let's get started ASAP. Right, first of all, let's talk about differences between the regular Mazda CX-5 and Carbon Edition. There are multiple trims available, and this one is one of the highest level trims. There's the trim higher than this, which is called Signature. The Carbon Edition comes standard with nice sporty trim options, and you can see, for example, the grille is like black and glossy. I love it. There are no fog lights, there's just like plastic, but I do like the fact that there is no any like fake air intake or nothing like that. It's all just like nice and clean. For this trim level, the only color available is the polymetal gray. And for the rims, we have 19-inch black metallic rims. I really like them. I think they fit this car just well. Maybe like you could even go up to 20-inch, but you know, you are unlikely to find matching rims like this. Just like in pretty much all of the Mazdas, there's the more durable black plastic around the fender, making this car also like suitable for very light off-roading. Very small percentage of Mazda owners take their cars to off-roading. You could get a base model in the Carbon Edition trim, and in that case you could get front-wheel drive. But over here in New England, I think most people will opt for the all-wheel drive because we get a lot of snow. I like the design. Like, this design has been around for a couple of years now. The redesigned body style is around the corner. I think we expect them to come out next year, but I love this new like design language from Mazda. My favorite one among all of them is Mazda 3 and CX-9. I love the design, but even CX-5 compared to previous versions looks so sporty, so nice. I think Mazdas in general are for those who are looking for a reliable Japanese car but also want to have some joy behind the steering wheel. They want to drive a little spiritually. If that's not your goal, like if all you are looking for is just a reliable, I don't know, solid mid-size family SUV, then Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4 are your alternatives. I like how the front hood kind of like it slopes down, and it has this like aggressive kind of like front end which just kind of like goes down straight. One sacrifice of a design like this is that the bumper is pretty much on the same line as the top part of the hood. If somebody backs up, if you are lucky, if their car is small enough, they're gonna hit you in the license plate. Otherwise, they might hit you in the front grille, which is expensive and pricey to replace. Headlights, I believe they are LED standard. Just look at this front end. Looks like an angry fish that wants to bite your head. There's a little bit of chrome trim that goes to the back and then swipes up like this. Looks like a hockey stick, but I like it. I like the side profile of it too, but my favorite angle in this design is the front. Just looks so sexy. For the Carbon Edition, you get black gloss mirror covers. The car comes standard with many safety features such as collision prevention, automatic reverse braking so that you don't hit the car parked behind you, blind spot monitoring. The differences between trims, dollar-wise difference is pretty significant. The base model starts around $25, and then with options, and if you choose to go all the way up to the Signature trim, the price goes well above $35,000. So there's like $10,000 worth of upgrades between the trims. Pop the hood open. The hood is really heavy. I think it's heavier than in my Mercedes. I don't know. Oh, and it doesn't have air struts, unfortunately, so you have to use your hand. And where does it go? And this is like like shifted so much to the right. I wish it was a little like shifted to the left more. It's kind of like in your view. If you want to like open this plastic or something, it will get in your way a little. 2.5 liters turbocharged Mazda engine based on the same natural aspirated Skyactiv engine with two engine options. One is the natural aspirated 2.5 liters that produce about 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. Not that much, but you get a little bit of higher MPG. This particular one is the turbocharged 2.5 liter that makes 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque, which is a significant bump in the torque number between the from the natural aspirated. But you must use 93 octane gas to get that much torque and horsepower. If you use like regular gas, then you're gonna get 220 horsepower or something like that. But as it's the case with most turbo engines nowadays, it's recommended to use 93 octane. In terms of reliability, this engine is pretty new, so it's hard to say whether this engines will be reliable or not. But because it's based on the same 2.5 liter naturally aspirated Skyactiv engine, which is known for reliability, they don't have like any major issues, we can assume that the turbo version will be reliable as well. Let's talk about technological advancements they have made in the turbo engine. The turbo engine and the natural aspirated share a lot of parts. It's still the same kind of like bore and stroke, although the compression ratio is higher in the turbo version, obviously. But oh yeah, and it uses like the same crankshaft and balancing shaft, stuff like that. So many parts will be interchangeable. But unlike the naturally aspirated version, the turbo one has what they call a dynamic pressure turbo system or something from Mazda, which basically means that the additional valves open as the RPMs get higher, and that allows you to have nice, solid and powerful acceleration on like low to mid-range RPM. The owner actually has been saying that it feels more like a diesel engine because the red line isn't that high, but the torque is available across all RPMs. That is definitely a nice bonus and a nice improvement over the natural aspirated engine. They also use like what cooled exhaust system. There's recirculated exhaust gases, something that Audi has been using for a while in their 2.0 TFSI engines that I talked about in my Audi A5 review. If you haven't seen that video, I'm gonna drop the link in the description. Go check that out. But basically, that recirculation of exhaust gases allow for cooler exhaust gases, which helps to keep the engine and the exhaust on its way out cooler, which is good for the catalytic converters, good for engine in general, good for performance numbers, and good for the environment. The engine bay itself, there's a lot of empty space in here, so working on this car should be easy if you are a DIYer. The doors open pretty wide, so getting into the car and out of the car should not be an issue. As we know, like the first impressions really matter when you get into the car, and you only have like, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds to develop your opinion about the car. When you get in, you will notice right away that it is a very nice place to be. This carbon edition comes standard with the red seats, which makes the interior look more premium than you would expect from the segment. But the steering wheel, nice and soft. The leather feels so good. There's red stitching across the interior. There's red stitching on the doors, on the seats, on the steering wheel. Soft touch and soft plastic everywhere. No scratchy plastic that you usually get in RAV4s. I don't know, maybe RAV4s have improved in nowadays. The gauge clusters, they're really pleasant to look at. The font, that had never been issues with Mazdas. I really like the buttons on the steering wheel. I like their shape. I like how they feel. And most importantly, this is where Mazda has done what usually is inherent to German brands. The control knobs and the buttons, they have a nice touch to them. Like I think like Mazda have spent time like picking the right springs and tension for the controls. You will definitely like the interior. You will find it better than in some other Japanese cars. There's a little bit of black piano glass, so you will get some fingerprints. It comes standard with 6-speed shiftable transmission. Thank you for that, Mazda. Like everybody hates CVTs and stuff like that. The seats themselves are really like soft and nice to sit on them. For my liking, they're a little short and they're not long enough and they're not wide enough. At the controls on the side, there are two memory settings, so you know you can share this car with your significant other or your friend. It has a premium Bose speakers, and the owner says that it sounds pretty good. All CX-5s nowadays come standard with 10.25 inches screen. I like how they have incorporated it into the dash, and it's not like too tall, so it's not like blocking your view out the windshield. Many people will complain that it's not touchscreen. I actually think that that's a plus. That's on the positive among the positive things, especially because, like I said earlier, these buttons are so pleasant to click on them and to push. Android Auto and excuse me, Apple CarPlay comes standard. Navigation, I haven't clicked too much through the navigation to understand if it's easy to use, but looks like it's, you know, pretty standard. Realistically, like if you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, most people will just use like Google Maps or Waze and just project it to the screen. So if you go to the settings, there are like a good amount of customization. You can go through in-vehicle settings, and you can, for example, adjust the brightness or contrast for the screen. The screen is pretty sharp. It almost feels like a, you know, like a good quality tablet to me. The pixels and the color scheme, the skin, it looks just amazing. So sound settings, you can adjust whether you want the in-vehicle notifications and warning volume high, low, and stuff like that. In the audio settings, like I said earlier, you can adjust the speaker settings depending on what you like. Let's go into the safety settings, collision prevention, and it will also automatically brake if you are backing up and you are about to bump into an object behind you. In this screen, like you can adjust like the alerts for, I don't know, blind spot monitoring and stuff like that. Let's go into the active safety. Lane keep assist system is enabled. Does it warn you if you leave the lanes, or does it actually actively steer?
It does steer a little bit, just like give you a little nudge, keep you in lane.
Okay.
You know.
Alert timing, you can set it to late or early. So yeah, it's really good to see like these things come standard. Then you can go through the door setting. You can adjust if the doors lock automatic or not. My favorite, although the owner had switched this off for now, my favorite is keyless auto lock. So if you have keys in your pocket and you walk away from the car, it will lock itself. It's a nice feature, but I am somewhat surprised to see it in American cars. Because of the liability issues. You know how, like, unfortunately some people will walk away and they will forget their kids or pets in the car. So don't be one of those people. Make sure that there's nobody in the car before you walk away. Exterior lighting settings, automatic headlight sensitivity. That's good to have automatic headlights. That's a really useful feature. Coming home light sets the length of delay before headlights turned off. You can see there's a good amount of customization. You know, you can even like enable or disable rain sensing wipers. Really nice soft touches everywhere. I like how both speakers have this like chrome or aluminum, brushed aluminum, and like rings around them. It's really nice to look at them. Let's check out the back seat. The back doors open pretty wide, so getting in is not an issue. So when you get in, you will see that the back seats are also very pleasant to sit on them. There's enough space for a mid-sized person. If you are a taller person and the driver is also a tall person, then you might have some problem fitting in here. I think compared to RAV4 has a little bit of bigger space in the back, and you can adjust the angle of the back seat. The back door is also like soft touch and really pleasant to touch. There's nothing that kind of like will irritate you. Although I can see that the speakers on the back do not have a Bose logo on them, which hopefully doesn't mean that they're not Bose speakers. There are no AC controls for the rear passengers. The armrest in the back has USB ports for charging your cell phone. The armrest itself is kind of low though, like putting your elbow on it will feel like you are leaning to the right a little. Okay, let's check out the trunk and see how much space there is in the trunk. We have a power operated tailgate, opens pretty fast as you can see. There is a cargo cover. It's optional, it doesn't come standard. 30.9 cubic feet of space, cargo space in the trunk. The carpet is like really like pleasant to touch. You can easily fold the rear seats by pulling these handles on the left, and then they will fall on their face, and in that case you will have 60 cubic feet of cargo space, which is plenty. If you pull the cover, the floor, you will be surprised to find a spare tire. It's somewhat rare nowadays. Most cars don't give it that to you. Look at where they have decided to place the subwoofer integrated into the spare tire. Let's see if I can fit in here. Let's check out if you can fit a mid-sized human body in the trunk. I feel a little terrified. Oh no. There's enough space. I was feeling comfortable. Alright guys, let's go for a ride and we're gonna see how Mazda feels on the road. Oh yeah, the throttle. Now I understand what the owner said earlier when he said that it felt like a diesel. It gets going from standstill pretty healthy and pretty like fast. We are in the comfort mode. I'm gonna put it in the sport, which will make the transmission a little more responsive, the throttle more responsive to my inputs. The car's like there's a slight curve in here, and the car stands flat. I don't get too much of a body roll. Would you say the body roll is an issue in this car?
No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah, in sport mode it is actually much more responsive. It holds the gear for longer. You can see it's like at 3000 RPM right now. It doesn't show me what gear I am in, but like I've been saying throughout the video, guys, this is the most probably driver oriented or exciting Japanese car in the segment for this kind of money. Although I can't say that this is like really cheap if you you know, choose to go to higher trim levels. Suspension, it's a little sporty on the sporty and like kind of like bumpy side, but it does a good job smoothing out all the road irregularities and like potholes, and we have like plenty of them over here in Massachusetts. So I think for daily, like this is a comfortable car to be in terms of like suspension setting. You do get some of the engine noise coming through, and I mean like when you accelerate, and that is, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It makes you feel connected to the car. There's a slight bit of like delay between my steering input and when the car changes the direction, but it has a nice weight to it. I've driven RAV4 recently, and compared to RAV4, this one is definitely more sportier. You do want to toss this car around, have some fun. Don't get me wrong, it's not a sport car, it's not trying to be, but for the segment, for an SUV, it doesn't have to be dull and boring, right? We can have some fun in SUVs if you want to. We will not be doing 0 to 60 measurement this time because it's a rainy day and there is no point, but the factory numbers are 6.1 second. I mean, it's not the fastest car, you know, but for the 2.5 liter engine, it's acceptable. It's faster than that Audi Q5 I tested. That car took 7.5 seconds to get from 0 to 60. So you can give those Audi drivers a hard time in this car easily. Yeah, you do hear some of the engine noise as you accelerate, but I think for a 4-cylinder turbo engine, that's a pleasant noise. Apparently the engine like shuts half of the cylinders off on a standstill, so when you get going, especially in the comfort mode, it takes it like for a split second to kind of like come up to speed, but it will save you some gas. So I'm just gonna be like silent for a second and let you guys can like get a feeling for what it's like to be behind the wheel. You can hear the engine noise, just a POV driving with me no speaking. So in the manual mode, you can see the gear you are in. Obviously, right now we're in the 4th gear. And by the way, something I just noticed is the fact that the Mazda has done the manual shifting the right way, meaning pushing the gear forward, downshifts, pushing it towards you, backward, upshifts. Mazda is kind of like indicates that this is a driver-oriented car. So sport mode, manually shifting. We'll just like accelerate it a little bit to see how it does. Yep, both the upshifts and the downshifts are reasonably fast. I think you can have a lot of fun in this car. The owner has been averaging about 18.7 mpg for the last 200-ish miles. Is it mostly city driving or highway?
Yeah, mostly city.
Mostly city, okay. Alright, I think this car is pretty versatile for the target audience, depending on what you want and what you expect from a car. If you just like the Mazda brand and you would like to, I don't know, just a practical family mid-size SUV, naturally aspirated engine should be plenty for you. But if you prefer to drive it a little like spiritually occasionally and have some fun, then the Carbon edition or even the Signature edition is a good choice. But be ready to pay $35,000 or more for it. Alright, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful and now you have a full understanding of what a Mazda CX-5 is, 2021 Carbon edition. I'd appreciate if you subscribed, liked, that helps the channel a lot, and I'll see you in the future episodes. Thank you.